Hey there, today I'm going to show you how to draw future trunks from Dragon Ball Z. So we're going to start in the area between the eyes with an upward curve. So starting from the left, I'm going to do a slight upward curve. From the other end, on the left side, I'm just going to draw a curve going upwards, and on the right going in and upwards. And in the center, I'm just going to draw a short line that goes straight up. Let's start on the right side and draw the eyebrow. So starting here, I'm just going to draw a curve going up and out. And then we're going to go back to the same point and just taper out a thicker line. And then from here, I'm just going to draw a diagonal line to connect the two parts. Let's draw the same thing on the left side, but just flipped over. So I'm just going to put my finger where I think the height should be. And starting on the left, I'm just going to come down to the point in the middle of the eyes. And here I'm just going to draw that same angled line up, and then come down and taper into the middle. Okay, so now we've got the eyebrows, let's get into the eyes. So starting back again on the right, I'm just going to come in from that point, just draw an angled line slightly. From here, I'm going to curve the bottom part of the eye out, so you can see that it gets thicker as I go to the outside. Then from here, I'm just going to tuck this in underneath that eyebrow. Let's go to the left side and do the same thing. So angled line coming down, and then using my finger, I'm going to gauge how high I want to go and how far. And I'm just going to curve down to meet that point, and then tucking this in underneath that eyebrow. Let's draw the pupils. So on the right side, on the upper edge, I'm going to draw sort of a half circle, and I'm just going to color in the center part black. Let's go to the left side and draw the same thing. So a half circle, and then drawing the center part in black. Okay, so there are the eyes. Let's get in just below here and just draw the bags under the eyes. So here I'm just going to draw a line going straight down, and then just following that same contour underneath that eye. And I'm just going to double that up, so just doing an overlap line. Let's draw the same thing on this side. Coming down, then going out, and then just doubling up underneath for a little detail. Let's go down to the nose. So the nose is pretty high up, so right about here in the center, I'm just going to draw a point of reference. From here I'm just going to flare out one line to one side, and left. And in the middle I'm just going to go straight up. And from this point I'm going to curve down to meet that line on the right side, just like this. So just the curve going down and out. Let's draw the mouth. So just below it, it's got a really small mouth. I'm going to start with a slight upward curve, and then I'm going to turn the sides of his mouth down so it looks like he's frowning. And then below here, I'm just going to draw a little short line to indicate the bottom of the lip. Okay, from here, let's get up to the part in his hair. So he's got a pretty big forehead. So right about here, I'll put the center point of reference. From this point, I'm going to curve out and to the left, and on the right, I'll do the same thing. From this point, I'm just going to curl down and just meet that eyebrow. I'll do the same thing on the right side. So it's basically mirrored. His face is pretty symmetrical. From here, I'm just going to draw a straight line going up. Now that'll act as a guide later on. So here, I'm just going to draw a couple lines kind of going up and tucking underneath that line. I'll do the same thing on the left. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to match perfectly. Now here from the center point, I'm just going to draw a couple of strands of hair. So one coming down, and then I'm just going to thicken it up and taper it back in. So again, on the right side, I'll just draw a line going thick in the middle and then just tapering to a point. And up here, if you want, you could just draw a bit more forehead frown. So I'm just going to draw a curve like this on the right and on the left. Now let's get to the front edge of his hair. So here, I'm just going to draw a curve going up. So you see that's flaring out. I'm going to just do an overlap, go up, and then come down. From here, I'm just going to go to the side of his head where his ears would be. So I'm just going to draw a straight line across, and I'm going to go to the right side and do the same thing. So I'm going to go up and down. These don't have to be perfect. You just keep it random. And then now I'm going to go to a straight line. And here I'm just going to just draw a couple lines going up, just to indicate some hair going up his head. Okay, from here let's draw the sides of his jaw and cheeks. So here it goes in towards each other, towards the jaw. So the jaw is roughly around the level of his nose. So right about here I'm going to draw a straight angled line on both sides going in. It's located his chin. So his chin is pretty short and it's pretty sharp. So I'm going to put a point of reference right in the middle, but it's rounded, it's not a point. So I'll just round out the chin, and now I'm going to make my way to that jaw line, but I'm just going to round it out slightly as I get there. So starting on the left, I'm going to start with the jaw, rounding it out and aiming for that chin. Okay, so there's the face. Let's get into the ears. So from this point, I'm just going to curve out, and curve down and out. Then right here at the bottom, I'm just going to curl down and then just tuck that in under the head. And for a little bit of ear detail, I'm going to go up, down, and I'm just going to bulge out this inner part here. And right up here in between, I'm just going to draw a little short curve. Let's do the same thing on the right side. So going up and out, coming down, and then right here I'm going to come down and in, and then curl that last bit in. Going up, down, and then that little bulge in the ear, and right in between here I'm just going to draw a little curl. Okay, now let's get out to the hair. So out here, the hair actually goes behind that ear and just goes out. So I'm going to draw two short lines going out. Now from this point I want to locate the top of his hair. So right about here, I'm going to put a point in the middle and just draw a short little line going down. From this point I'm going to flare out two curves. Now there's two breaks in the hair, so it goes out and then it starts to go down. So I'm going to locate sort of the point where I want to break that. So here I'm going to curve down. Okay, that looks pretty good on both sides. So curving down in a less than steep angle. And then now here's where we start to go steep. And I'm going to take this point and go right to that point there by curving straight down. Okay, now we can add some more detail to the hair. So along the bottom edge, you just take a couple of lines and just pull them up. Right from where the ear is and right from there where that hairline is there. And then along this strip in the middle, starting on the right side, you just pull a few lines out. Very short lines. And on the left side, you just kind of stagger them. They don't have to line up with the right side. And you can be short ones and you can be slightly longer ones. But there's the head. Let's get into the neck area. So right where the jaw is, I'm going to start on the left. I'm just going to curve a line in. And on the right, I'll curve a line in. From this point, right where the shoulders would be, so the shoulders I'm going to locate right about here. I'm going to flare out two short lines. And then in the neck, from here between the jaw and the chin, I'm going to curve in the throat area. Alright, from here, let's get down to the collar. So the collar comes down, a two big collar detail. So here I'm going to angle inwards, and on the right I'll do the same thing. Now let's go up to the top where the collar would be. So I want the collar to be quite high. So just under this earlobe, I'm going to curve out. Let's do the right side as well, just so we get the right balance in size and shape. From here, I'm going to curve in. Let's go to the right side and do the same thing. From here, I'm going to just angle out on both left and right side. Now from these points, I'm going to connect to that point there with a curve. Okay, now we got that. Let's draw the collar of his shirt, which is essentially just an upward curve right about there, and his collarbone. So here I'm going to draw the divot, and then from here I'm going to curve out and tuck that in under the collar. Right here along the collarbone, just left of this throat line, and just draw two curves on left and right. Now I can get into a little bit of detail on the collar before I get into the rest of his body. So along this edge, perimeter, just on this side, I'm going to just make it twice as thick. So I'm just going to outline the inner contour all the way around. We'll do the same thing on the right side. So coming down, just trying to keep that line equally spaced all the way around. Okay, now the tricky part is getting the strap for his sword on top of the jacket on the left side, but not on the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of a cheat here. I'm going to go up to the shoulder line. So here's the shoulder line. I'm going to go across on both sides, left and right sides. And now I'm going to come in for the first fold towards the chest. So on this side, I'll curve in. On the right side, I'll curve in. Now, let's draw the bottom part of this jacket. So here I'm going to come up and do an overlap and come straight down, like so. And then the bottom edge, because it's a high jacket, I'm just going to draw two curves going in. So it's sort of lined up with the collar of this jacket. Now I don't want to draw this line in yet because this strap goes on top of this jacket. But on the right side I can do that. So let's start with this side here. Now with the strap, I'm going to draw the buckle first. So right about here is where the buckle is, and if this strap's going this way, I want the buckle angled that way too. So start with the top. It's essentially just an angled rectangle. Goes across his body, and then I'm just going to draw that same sort of detail, that just outlining the outer contour of that line. Now from here, I want to get this strap going up here and tucking underneath that collar. So let's take this point of the collar and go right into that buckle. And step in a little bit and go all the way up here. So going up and tucking under that collar and going right up to that shoulder. Now from here, I could take this point and just go straight up and tuck that underneath the buckle that lines up with that edge of the collar. This is now going to go this way, but let's draw in the waistline before I do that. So here I'm going to step in and curve out on both sides slightly, and curve this in towards his waist. Now I'm going to take this and continue this, tuck that in on his waistline. So there we go. So now we got 3 layers. We got the collar on top of the buckle and strap, over his jacket, over his shirt. Okay, now let's get into his belt. So here I'm going to connect these 2 points with a curve. Let's go to the buckle area. So here I'm going to draw the same thing here but straight. So I'm going to take the 2 sides, pull them down, and go straight across. Here I'm just going to outline the contour of the outer line for the buckle. Here I'm going to step up a little bit and draw 2 short lines. Then I'm going to come down with 2 vertical lines that go past that. Now I'm going to pull these across right to where that part of his hips are, and then just pull those lines down. Now along the belt you can draw a little bit of detail, so kind of just pulling a few lines down and then pulling a few lines up. Kind of gives it that sort of wrinkled belt look. Then from these points in the hips or the belt, I'm just going to curve lines down just to finish it off. Let's get into the arms. Now here, I want to just bulge out 2 lines because this is where the stitch line is for his jacket. From this point, I'm just going to curve down on both sides. And the reason why I'm going left and right is just to get that right balance and that right length. From here I'm going to step up, come down, do the same thing on the right side. Now here I'm going to go in the opposite direction, so curving out here and then just pulling in slightly and then curving down. 2 lines that curve downwards. Now just to finish off the jacket, I'm just going to step right here behind this hip and just curve down on both sides, like so. The final step is the sword. So up here, right about here, I'm going to draw a curve that goes behind that collar and then angles out on one side, goes straight across, up, and then across. Now for the sleeve of the sword, I'm just going to draw a line just like that. Now this sword handle is going to go straight up here, so I'm going to step in a little bit, go straight up, and now it's sort of tapered, so it kind of comes in like this. So it starts off thinner and kind of gets thicker as it goes towards the base of the sword. And curve the top out. Just do a little detail here. And right here, I'm just going to draw a circle tucked in, and then just splitting it in half with a curve. And right here on the shoulder, actually, he's got this insignia, so I'm just going to just draw part of it. So just drawing a curve around here, curve around in the inside, and oh, and the pockets. So the pockets for the jacket, I'm going to go across the top. Both sides, I'm going to come down at an angle and to a point. So going towards a point in the center. I'm going to outline this. And then down the middle here, I'm going to make it twice as thick, so the piping detail here. And at the middle, I'm just going to go straight up. Let's do the same thing on the left side here. So across the top, down on one side. You're not going to see this side, so I'm going to come down to a point, outlining the inside detail. And like I did here, 2 lines coming down the middle, and 1 line going up the top. Go a little bit higher there. And I think that's it. There we have it. There's future Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Please give us a like, share this with your friends, get them to subscribe, and check out our anime playlist. I have a ton of characters in there, and I'll be adding more every week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.